Football 101 2024, the YouTube show. That's right, this is Football 101, the YouTube show, featuring your host, that's me, the Beetle. Yes, former defensive back in the day with Miami University of Ohio, 1979, 1980. And yes, play high school football. Xenia, a little shout out to Xenia, Ohio. Back in the day from 73 to 76, 75. Wow, yes, I was stretching all the way back there. So I'm from the Midwest. That's right. But this is a breakdown of the Minnesota Vikings. We doing it. A breakdown of their season, of the coaches, of the players, and the hype coming from Minnesota during training camp. The first week of training camp. And we're finishing up the NFC North. Finishing up the NFC North. And let me just say right up front, the Vikings going to be struggling. Let me just get that out right now. I'm not going to build up the hype. I'm letting you know up front, it's going to be a long year for the Minnesota Vikings. I hope you love it in that stadium, inside that stadium. Because if you were playing at outside, it would be another cold year in Minneapolis. But let me give a shout out to the Minnesota Vikings Network, YouTube network. The team, Minnesota Vikings, they're holding down the fort as usual. A vet, what's his name? The host of the Minnesota Vikings, Dan. You still bringing it? This guy, when I tuned in, he looks like he's been around there for quite some time. Dan, you're bringing it. The attitude and the investigation of what's going on with the Vikings. Also, shout out to the Purple FTW podcast. That's right, Purple FTW podcast, as well as Vikings Now, featuring Patrick Simmons. Vikings Now. So shout out to Vikings Now, Purple FTW podcast, and the Minnesota Vikings Network. You guys do a great job covering the Minnesota Vikings. I again appreciate your dedication. Your dedication to a losing team. I'm gonna put that out there. To a losing team. Made a lot of changes in the offseason, and unfortunately, on the hot seat. And let me just shout out Lindy Sports, my magazine, Lindy Sports, already said the general manager for the Vikings, Adofo-Mensah, is on the hot seat. He said an out of the box hire of general manager who was the analytics guy with no scouting experience. Adolfo, year 3, needing to hit big on several moves after whiffing on so many key ones in 2022-2023. 14 players from his first 2 drafts produced one standout. That's Jordan Addison. And only 3 starters, including none from 2022, when he traded from 12 to 32. Got too little in return from Detroit. So apparently, Adolfo on a team that's fallen behind the Lions and the Packers with the Bears. So apparently the general manager who's in charge of making the trades and also keeping players, he's on the hot seat. And he's a young brother. And he's a numbers guy. But I don't know how much of the analytics will be able to keep your job. Right up front. The head coach, Kevin O'Connell. Let me just say, Kevin O'Connell, after, again, looking at how he handles himself with the local media, very impressive. I got to give Kevin O'Connell props for being a young head coach. He's only been there for, 3 years? He's the young coach, and I didn't know much about him, but I was very impressed how he handled. This is his third season, so I was very impressed at how he handled the local media, how he presents himself. He's very loved by the fans, loved by the media. He explains things thoroughly. He's very convincing, and he doesn't seem like he gets rattled as much as he potentially could. So I give him props, Kevin O'Connell. Very likable, as I said. So he's starting to delegate more. Let me just quickly look. His offensive coordinator is Wes Phillips. His defensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. Brian Flores is always bringing the edge. He was just with Pittsburgh last year, and then he was with my Dolphins. Got let go by the Dolphins in some major controversy. He was head coach, y'all. So Brian Flores had to stick it to the NFL too, because they didn't treat him right. Hey, they didn't treat Brian Flores right. So now he's defensive coordinator. He could have been out of the league, but he's defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to make a difference. Now we know, everyone know Brian Flores. He doesn't play. He just got a scowl on his face seems like every day. But he's there. He's obviously there to get the defense together, to bring the attitude, to bring the fear. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know how long that's going to last. See, I'm switching up right now because his defense is not that good. Again, his defense is not that good. He has defensive linemen, Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips, Jerry Tillery, linebackers, Blake Cashman, Jonathan Greenard, Ivan Pace, Dallas Turner. But they let go. I want to start on defense. I was very disappointed. They let go one of the key linebackers of all time with the Lions organization. With the Vikings organization. Yeah, they let go Cam Akers last year, running back. They also let go wide receiver Osborne, Reisner, and Jordan Hicks. And wow, they let go a lot of players. I didn't think it was that many. But and they brought in so their defense is a work in progress. Matter of fact, secondary. Whether Flores has the corners he needs to play more man is questionable. They brought in Shaquille Griffin, the Pro Bowl. Now Shaquille Griffin, he's solid, but he's not that good. He's from Seattle. He got torched when he was at Jacksonville. Then he went to Seattle. Now he's with the third team. Bringing in rookie Kyrie Jackson. Again, he's going to experiment with the safety, second rounder Andrew Booth Jr. And then it says his wife Flores uses more 3 safety looks than anyone, and he brings a lot of. Flores always blitz. He has lots of blitz packages. So I don't know. He's going to need a lot of help in the secondary. He has below average linebackers, and he doesn't have that stellar of a defensive line at all. So there's not going to be that much pressure on the quarterback. They're going to get torched. That's all I see. Their defense is going to get torched. Now on offense, this is what the biggest controversy during the training camp. The biggest controversy is they traded away, let go Kirk Cousins to Atlanta Falcons, and they drafted J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy. So hyped about J.J. McCarthy from University of Michigan. But on the depth chart starting, they brought in Sam Darnold. It's his 7th year from Southern Cal. Sam Darnold was with, I forget what team he was with last year. But he was with a different team. Sam Darnold is the starter. But the controversy's already started. Now, Dan of the Minnesota Vikings network, he laid out a theory for bringing in J.J. McCarthy to the head coach Kevin O'Connell. This big theory. Kevin O'Connell, that's the reason I say he has to put up with so much from the Minnesota Vikings organization. So Dan from Minnesota Vikings organization has this theory of how J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starter during week number 2 or 3. This Dan threw out his theory, and Kevin O'Connell just handled it very diplomatically. He said, "Oh, great job, but that's not how it goes." So, but the biggest thing in Vikings camp is, when will J.J. McCarthy become the starting quarterback? Because he has so many skills. He's obviously shown flashes in camp. Most rookies show flashes. Let me just tap it down right now. J.J. McCarthy need to get, he has great, I saw his throwing motion and everything. It just takes time. Let him get acclimated and sit behind Darnold. Let him sit for at least half of the season. Give Sam Darnold a chance. He's a veteran. Now you're going to, again, J.J. McCarthy, yes, he's a nice guy, but sometimes in the NFL, nice guys got to sit. Nice guys got to sit and learn. But there's going to be pressure on Kevin O'Connell to play J.J. McCarthy. So, but I don't know. There's also the organization Score North from Minnesota sponsors Mackie and Judd. So shout out to Score North in Minnesota. But let me just say, on offense, yes, the Vikings brought in Aaron Jones, running back from the Packers. He should give them a spurt. He's a hard runner. He's an attitude runner. I don't know how long he's going to last. Matter of fact, he's running inside. He's at Minnesota, playing in the dome. And you know, running backs, when you play in the dome and you're getting hit, you get taken down. Getting hit and hitting the AstroTurf adds more damage to a running back than playing on natural grass. In Green Bay, he played on natural grass. It protected him. Now he's playing in Minnesota in the dome. He's going to feel it. And I don't know if he's going to last the entire... He's going to look faster because he's on AstroTurf, but when he gets hit, he's going to endure more injuries. So fortunately, they will still go, I'm going to say this, to their star player, their only star player on the team. And matter of fact, they brought in another. See, I'm setting you up. And brought in another star player, Jordan Addison. There you go. He brings the pay, as well as Brandon Powell, another wide receiver. But the star wide receiver of the NFL is Justin Jefferson. Yes, Justin Jefferson has proven to be a super duper star. And yes, he's the player, he's the gentleman who created the touchdown celebration The Gritty. The Gritty. I don't know. He changed up the Gritty last year. Became so popular. He became known just as the end zone dancer and doing the Gritty. But I think he's trying to get away a little bit from that because he's a renowned wide receiver, runs great routes, excellent hands. He intimidates. He intimidates defensive backs. Like I said, he intimidates defensive backs. He's 6'1", 195. A little bit on the you would think that he's kind of thin, but he handles the punishment of the NFL very well. So yes, he's a super duper star. And will that be enough? Because he has another couple of younger wide receivers that's joining him. There's also tight end TJ Hawkinson. He's an all-pro. And then with their running backs, other than Jones, they have Ty Chandler. He's solid. Really like Ty Chandler. And that's coming out. What is it? 5'11", 265 from North Carolina. Ty Chandler is really good. I really like him. And he's from North Carolina. So again, I think their offense has potential. Obviously, they're going to score some points, but the key is the quarterback position. And I think if you're going to start J.J. McCarthy, give him time. I don't think Kevin O'Connell will be rushed to put him in unless he really shines during training camp, during preseason. And what I seen of J.J. McCarthy during college, he throws a good pass, but it's not exceptionally great. He's got to learn the timing. He's fluid. But I think at this point, I would give the nod to Sam Darnold because of his experience. I really would. I'd give the nod to Sam Darnold. So, but I'm sure J.J. McCarthy will start and sometime during this season, no doubt. But I would just let him sit and learn. Because, again, sometimes when you rush, of course, he's a national champion from University of Michigan. They won the college championship last year. Great job. Michigan. But now, it's the NFL. It's the NFL. And they don't play. And they don't care if you're a champion or not. You're just a rookie. So J.J. McCarthy, I don't think I think he's always been a level-headed athlete, and he goes through a lot of mental preparation. I've seen him during last year. He goes through a lot of mental preparation, so he is balanced mentally. It's just that the NFL and Minnesota hype, again, the hype machine when you get to the NFL, and will be pushing him to try to start. And I can see it coming from the Minnesota Vikings network. You guys just need to believe in the process of your head coach, Kevin O'Connell, because I think he has a plan, he has a strategy. He's not going to let everyone know about it. But again, y'all have a long way to go. And again, I just don't see that much of an offensive firepower, and their defense will definitely struggle all through the season until Brian Flores gets a good mix of the play. Now, they play tenacious defense, but they're just so young on the back end, and they don't have much of a pass rush, and their linebackers are below average. And but their secondary will be bringing it in the best way they can. The special teams, the kicker is up for grabs between two players. with no NFL experience. John Parker Romeo is a former XFL standout. Oh, wow. Will Richard, a 6th-round draft pick. So, wow. So you know they're going to be struggling on field goal extra points when their kickers have no NFL experience. Recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. And you know the first person's going to be fired, unfortunately let go, is the general manager. That's the saddest part. That's the saddest part. Because there's always going to be someone fired when it goes off the rails. And Vikings fan, and matter of fact, I used to be a great Vikings fan back in the day when the Purple People Eater. Yes, I was with the Vikings with Alan Page, Chuck Foreman, my boy Chuck. Oh, by the way, I follow Chuck Foreman on I follow him on X, on Twitter. He's always loyal to the Minnesota Vikings fan, because my boy Chuck Foreman, number 44, I played. He was on my electric football team. Chuck Foreman, check him out. Still loyal to the Vikings organization. And so that's when I became a Minnesota Vikings fan way back then. As of today, I'm not a big Vikings fan, obviously. And I'm sure Kirk Cousins is glad he got out of Minnesota too. But anyway, I was a Vikings fan way back in the day with Alan Page, Carl Eller. Oh my gosh, all the phenomenal Vikings player. Just loved them all. Their defense was phenomenal. And of course, their quarterback back then was Fran Tarkenton. I believe I'm getting it right. Fran Tarkenton, way back in the day. So yeah, the Beetle brings the history to the Minnesota Vikings. So I know a bit of your history. But for right now, y'all struggling. Excuse me. Y'all struggling to find consistency. Now let's look at their schedule, and I believe I got them at. I'm gonna say. Let me just run off the teams first. Their schedule. First game at New York Giants. Ooh, Giants have turned things around. Uh-oh. Then they host San Francisco. Oh. Then they host Houston. Oh. Then they go to Green Bay. Oh. Then they play the Jets. Oh. Then they have a bye. Then they host the Lions. Oh. Then they go to LA Rams. Uh-oh. Then they host the Colts. Hey. Then they go to Jacksonville. Oh. Then they go to Tennessee. Oh. Then they go to Chicago. Oh. Then they host Arizona. Yay. Then they host Atlanta. Then they host Chicago. Uh-oh. Yeah. Then they go to Seattle. Oh. Then they host Green Bay. Uh-oh. Then they go finish the season go to Detroit. Another loss. So somehow I got the Vikings with a record of 5-12. 5-12, last in the NFC North, and someone's going to get fired. More than likely, the general manager, and potentially they're going to have to do something else on solidify that offense. But it's looking bad. It's looking bad, and the playmakers are gone. They're very young, but again, it's a shame to see what's happening to the Vikings. They were always there, making the playoffs. One catch, one thing, always there, and they just got rid of their superstar running back a couple of years ago. Just a couple of years ago, wouldn't sign him. That was my boy back, by the way. I can't remember his name right now. And really enjoyed their number one running back just a couple of years ago. And so these moves by the general manager, and it's just not panning out for the Vikings. They're in this new their downtown Minneapolis stadium. What is it? Bank Stadium? I forget the name of the. Let me look. Their stadium. Twin Cities. They're in the Twin Cities. Their stadium. Again, I can't think of it wrong. Performance Center. Yeah, they're in the Performance Center. That's where the training camp is. My bad. But their football stadium downtown. It's nice and pretty. Have all the amenities, but and it gets filled up because there's not much to do in Minneapolis. It's the Twin City. I don't want to dog out the city. Let me not dog out the city of Minneapolis. It's just the organization is you have a low bar of winning now. But tap it down. But you have tap down your expectations. It's going to be another long winter, a very, very long winter in Minneapolis. Stay warm, keep hyping up, enjoy the amenities of your stadium, and don't wish for Kirk Cousins to come back. He always made things happen. It was fun. But the upside is J.J. McCarthy is a rookie. You have the upside, the future of J.J. McCarthy. It's just that there's not many other than Justin Jefferson and another wide receiver. And I don't know how long Aaron Jones will last. But again, that defense has to solidify itself fast. Because otherwise, teams are just going to be scoring on that defense. And no matter how much offense you're going to score, it's not going to be enough. Because that defense is skeptical. And Flores is going to be bringing the blitzes right and left to protect that secondary, because the defensive line not going to put as much pressure as they could, and the linebackers not going to be able to cover the running backs. So it's going to be a hodgepodge until they settle down. And so hold on, Vikings fans, Minnesota Vikings fans. And when I see in their stadium, they even have the big Vikings horn. The big Vikings horn. So enjoy the pregame. That's about it. It's a long year for the Vikings fan. Minnesota Vikings. Dan for Minnesota Vikings. And the Purple FTW podcast and Vikings Now. That's how the Beatles see it. That's how Football 101 sees it. Tell me about it. I'll keep on bringing it. If you have any comments and questions, yes, send it to the Beatle. I will give you feedback each and every week. But this is my preview of the Minnesota Vikings 2024. Stay tuned. We just getting started, and let's